In the film She's Out of My League, I learnt this lesson so that it can help you in terms of relationships. And the first thing is to not settle, because when you're settling, you're choosing to be in a relationship with someone that is wrong for you. And when you're in a relationship with someone that's wrong for you, you start to settle because what you want, you don't want the same thing, but then also you're afraid of being single. And when you're single, you have time to figure things out, and you have time to figure out who you are as a person without other people. When you're with the wrong person, it can set you back a couple years, but then also they tell you what you want to hear. I wanted to say this as really the next lesson. Not everyone really gets along, and the reason for that is because not everyone is compatible, but also you can't force a connection with people, because when you force a connection, you know that there's an issue, but instead of dealing with the issue, it keeps coming up. No matter what you do and no matter what you say, people are already feeling something towards you, and it could be good, it could be bad, but then also you can't change how people feel towards you, no matter how many things you do for people, and no matter what you say to try and convince people. The people that are giving you good signs and the people that are right in front of you showing you how interested they are, you don't want it to be that you think the grass is greener on the other side. Another thing that I wanted to point out that the film She's Out of My League really taught me, and also for you that's really watching this, is because the rejection isn't so bad when both people can agree that they don't like each other. I wanted to say this, so I learnt this from the film She's Out of My League, and you know when you try and force a connection, which was my point before, that you go on a double date with your friend, but because you're on a double date, you just expect that connection to work out, and in a way you're kind of forcing two people to be together. And in this case, when it came to Stainer and Patty, they already agreed with each other that they don't really like each other like that. Also, you may think that you're unlucky when it comes to dating because it works out for everyone else but not you, but that's why your friends are there to help, and you're trying to know what it is that you want for yourself. But in a way, you shouldn't really rush a connection, but also I think making your intentions clear and not blocking out any opportunities that are right in front of you. In terms of Stainer's case, he already had a girl that already liked him, but he never looked in front of him, and it's only when he started to lose that girl that he wanted to be with her. So that's what I'm going to say, because it's not until you lose someone that you start wanting to be with them, but when the opportunity's there and they're right in front of you, you just need to make the most of that opportunity, because the grass isn't always greener on the other side, and you may want someone else, but that someone else may not exist. Molly had so many past relationships, which I don't know the number, but she did have guys that she liked. But then also, because she had those past relationships, she could be subconsciously trying to make sure that Kirk isn't like that. But then also, if Kirk is like that, it's almost like it's going to be a pattern. So that's one thing that Molly did realize, because she didn't bring her past relationships into her new one with Kirk, and she didn't add like extra baggage, which is so important. But then also, you can't bring extra baggage into a new relationship. Another lesson that I wanted to say when it comes to the film She's Out of My League, and it's back in 2010 because I made a part 1 of the lessons that you can learn in terms of friendships. When it came to Molly and her past relationships in the film, she didn't really bring it up, but then also the only time that she brought it up was during arguments. And that's what most people will do, because they will start naturally comparing the person that they're with now with someone in their past. And it's only when it comes to arguments that that's when people bring it up. I wanted to ask you this question for anyone that's watching this. When it comes to really your past relationships, people don't really bring it up, and I'm assuming that you don't bring it up because no good comes from that. People start asking you questions of who you was with, what did you do you still like that person? And when people start to compare who you are now with that person in your past, it's almost like they're looking for similarities to then disqualify you. When it came to Molly and her ex Cam in the film, the reason why their relationship ended was because Molly said that he couldn't handle it, and he started being insecure, because it's kind of similar to Kirk when he became insecure. When Molly ended things with Cam, which was her ex, it's because what happened, he was being insecure, and then he was looking for insecurities in Molly. But then when it came to Molly and Kirk, she stayed with Kirk at first because he was a safe guy, and she would never think that Kirk will be insecure to that level. Another lesson that I'm going to say is to be more intentional and to not lead people on. Because when you're intentional, you may like someone, but then you want to see them again. Because if you're not intentional, someone else is going to beat you to it, and then you may never see that person again. And I'm only saying this because if you want to see someone again, you have to be intentional by taking them places. You have to be intentional and say, I want to have a relationship with you. And then you want to have something in the future as well. Sometimes people forget that it's a film because so much time would have been skipped, because a film is normally like an hour and something long. When you have quality time with someone in real life, you're more likely to know who that person is and what it is that they like and don't like. That is why when it comes to a relationship, it has to progress, and it needs to progress where the person that you like, they want to be closer to you, but then also they want to get to know you more. If you start faking who you really are, people can really see it. And even Molly saw it when it happened to Kirk and his friends. Because when it came to Kirk and his friends at the airport, they all met each other at the airport near the beginning. And it happens near the beginning of the film, but let me just carry on. Because when it came to Kirk and his friends, Kirk was being himself when he first met Molly, and he only acted like himself up until he knew that Molly was into him. So that's the difference, because when it comes to guys, they may act normally when it comes to talking to girls in real life, but when the girl seems to be into him, that's when he starts acting differently. That's when he starts doing things to impress his friends. Kirk's friends, rather than focusing on having a conversation with Molly to see if they get along, they were more focused on treating her differently because she looked good. And that's what I'm going to say, because when you meet someone that you like, it's very important that you start off with a conversation and you start to introduce yourself, rather than getting straight into it and thinking that a relationship will come out of it. So one thing that I wanted to say, when it comes to guys and girls, you know when a guy does something for like a girl and he doesn't expect anything in return? When it came to Kirk in the film, he gave Molly her phone without expecting anything in return. But because Molly liked that and she appreciated it and how authentic that really was, that he didn't expect anything in return, Molly made it up to Kirk by inviting him to an event, but then also Molly invited him to the hockey game. So one thing that Kirk did, he gave Molly's phone without expecting anything in return, but then also he had a conversation. Even if he said one or two things, he put himself out there by having a conversation. So when Kirk first met Molly and he didn't know her at all, and he didn't know that Molly was into him, he was acting normally and he was having a conversation with her like normal. Later on, Molly realised that Kirk was acting differently the second that Kirk realised that Molly was into him. The last thing that I'm going to say, so when it came to Patty, she told Kirk that Molly was into him at the hockey game, but then Molly told Kirk that she was into him as well. So that's what I'm going to say, because Kirk needed so much reassurance to then know that Molly was into him. What I'm trying to say next is, because if you like someone and then you don't see them again, it's because the reason why you don't see them again is because you only have one chance to really make a good first impression, and you only have one chance for someone to actually notice you. They may think of you in a positive way, or they think of you in a negative way, but that truly depends on the person. And I'm going to say this next because when it came to really Kirk and Molly, Molly was the one that was being intentional of trying to see him. This can literally apply to real life as well, because if you like someone and you ignore them, you can't expect them to read your mind, and you can't expect them to make the first move as well, because they can't really read your mind. And even if they do make the first move, you need to understand that they can't be the only one making the move. Otherwise, the relationship is more one-sided. When I said about being intentional and not leading someone on, it's because you can't fake it all the time. And if you fake it and they like that fake version of you, there's only so much time before you start to reveal who you really are. In terms of a relationship, you need to go after the person that you want, because if the person that you want starts to ignore you, you may never see that person again. But then also, you don't want to lead someone on, because if you want two different things, you're much better off finding someone that wants the same things as you, so that you're not wasting your time, you're not wasting their time, but then also you can put that energy into yourself so that you can attract someone that's more like you. So yeah, that's all I got to say. Thank you for watching this video, and I'll see you again soon.